Well, I just felt like we needed to grow in the bullpen and get better and keep, from freshman year to senior year, I wanted to see them develop. And I must have interviewed, anywhere from 12 to 15 pitching coaches, and I wanted to take my time, get it right. And it was a tough process, to be honest. And I actually sat on the Zoom with him for, I think, an hour and 45 minutes, and it probably could have been all day, and just had a good connection with where we saw our bullpen going. And he did a great job of prepping for our pitchers, not really knowing them, but going off a video, and just love what he has planned for them in the future, and what he has planned in recruiting, and just really excited about it.
When you mentioned the analytical side, you said that was something that kind of resonated with you guys. Can you just touch on that and how that conversation went?
Well, I just think we're constantly, our sport is developing every single year. It's getting better in technology, and you see it in Major League Baseball. You've seen it kind of everywhere. And on the hitting side, we've tried to stay at the forefront of that. And he taught me a lot of things on the Zoom, and, we've been able to kind of use our resources and learn in different ways. And I just think it's great that he wants to constantly keep developing and growing and learning new things, and, love the resources he has in his back pocket as well.
And when you have to part ways with a former teammate, friend, I mean, what's that like for you?
It's hard, it's hard. And, we are great friends. We're still great friends. And I think a couple things can be true. It could be the right move, and it could still be the hardest thing that you possibly have to do. And it was tough for me, but she's going to be great, and she's going to be great at Mississippi State. And just truly happy for her, and still rooting for her and have her in my corner.
And you guys brought Miranda in.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been out a year, but I mean, she had some success. What do you see in her that you like?
Well, I like a few different things, and I love that she adds depth to our bullpen, but also offensively she adds some depth, which is nice. And not only that, but in the infield, which is kind of what we were searching for, just a little bit of backup when we needed it. And obviously we returned the majority of our infield, but after that, it got thin last year. So for us, it's great to have another bat come in, and she plays a corner, which is really weird for or third base, which is really weird for a pitcher. Normally, it's not very common. The maturity I'm excited about. The maturity, the fact that she's competed in a good conference against good competition. She's not going to be surprised. She's going to come in and know what she's getting. And yeah, it's a year off, but sometimes it's nice to kind of have that fresh perspective, coming out, observing what's going on and what the game looks like, and then stepping back into it, and sometimes be just a blessing.
Yeah, you have her and Devin, obviously, as mature veteran pitchers. What can that do for your younger players in the staff? And a pitcher like Aisa.
It's okay.
Get it for a minute. Aisa last season, who came in, really should have been in high school at that point in time.
Well, we have a good balance this year, which we didn't have last year. We had a lot of new come in. Even though we had Allie Blanchard come in, she was still new and still getting some experience. Then we had 2 freshmen come in, and Breezy come in, who was also new. So it was tough. And this year, Devin's been kind of the dog and has been in that role, and now she gets to come back with a fresh perspective. And then you have Miranda coming in with completely fresh eyes and a completely fresh perspective, because she's coming in from a different conference. She's seen our team from the outside in. And I think pairing that with a year under the belt of Aisa and Sydney and AB. And then, I'd argue that, our freshmen have a great deal of maturity as well with Ryan and Brooke. And, Ryan's throwing her first bullpen, and Brooke threw her first one today. So it's exciting, and, TBD on that, but I love the way they work. I've got to see them in the weight room this morning, and I just love what I see so far from really all of our freshmen, which I'm excited about.
Josh said you guys are going to run more this year. Is that true?
Yes. Well, I laugh because Liv texted me in the middle of the summer, and she had played in the Florida Gulf Coast League, and she had 10 stolen bases this summer. So she made sure to text me that, and I was like, okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. But yes, he's a big fan of stolen bases, and I think you look at the dynamic of our team right now, and most of us can run. So that's exciting to me, and it allows, free some other stuff up offensively too.
Why do you think that style, because it used to be at the forefront when you were at Arizona and you guys were winning national championships, and then not only Arizona but other schools switched to more play-by-play home run ball. Why do you think that style went away for a while?
Honestly, I think it kind of depends on the dynamic of our lineup. And if you look at, if I'm going to talk about our lineup, we had so much speed and not a lot of home runs at all. I mean, we had a couple that could hit, some decent home runs, but we were RBI singles and RBI doubles and stolen bases to get into scoring position. And I think you're going to see a good mix of that top to bottom this year. And we'll be able to kind of do both. I think we still have the power, but to put our speed kids in motion is going to be really great.
And as far as the growth of the sport, you brought like Josh is from back east, Christian's from Texas. There's a lot of talent in other parts, east now. Is there thoughts about whether that needs to be a bigger part of Arizona's recruiting?
I think the relationships have been huge as far as the relationships with travel ball coaches and the kind of the areas of expertise throughout the whole staff. That's exciting to me. And, we have recruits coming in kind of from all over the place now, which is very cool. California will always be a softball mecca, and I think we understand that. And we like to recruit the West Coast kids, especially the ones that want to stay on the West Coast. And I just think it broadens our perspective. And it's really, I think when you add that fourth coach in, now it's a lot easier to cover the whole country. Whereas before, with three of us, it's tough to even cover one California tournament sometimes. So just being able to send coaches in different spaces and trust that they've got it, it's refreshing. It's a nice change. And I think throughout the country, you're going to see that through all the schools too.
There's going to be a lot of change in the next several years. This year being the last year in the Pac-12. Can you just talk about, your thoughts about going to the Big 12 and seeing the Pac-12 kind of just vanish?
Well, vanish. That's so sad. I think the day was kind of mixed emotions for some of us because we've lived, our whole playing careers in that conference in the Pac-12, and it's such, a prestigious conference, and it, look at football. They went undefeated on opening weekend. I think both things can be true. I was sad for the history of what this conference was, and but excited to also honor it this year and make it the best year that we've had in the conference. And then also very excited to join the Big 12 and what that means for our ladies moving forward. One of the things that's exciting is we get to play our conference tournament at the World Series field. Like, we've always envied that, which is really cool. And now it's not just the 1 week out of the year. So I think a lot of exciting things were, we have a team that's being built in the athletic department to kind of transition us into that, and just excited for what's in the future for us.
I talked to Rita a little bit this morning about the travel part and how they're starting to talk about it for volleyball. Have you guys done any of that with softball?
Oh, I've already been on all the travel sites and seen what that looks like for us. I think the coolest part is there's not a lot of terrible travel days within softball. I think other sports have it a little tougher, but really, UCF is kind of the one outlier for us. It's not tacking on hours and hours to our travel time. I think the Big Ten probably has a harder, travel adjustment than we do. But excited to get into these places and experience some new things, and we'll adapt as we always do. And I know the girls are ready for it as well.
Do you think there will be potential where you guys play a California team during non-conference, and maybe a team like UCLA, for instance, a team that you've had that rivalry with?
Well, I definitely think there's going to be conference teams that we play pre-conference season now, and we've already had some discussions about it. I think it would be silly not to, with us being so close together and with the great RPIs that everybody carries. So for me, that's a no-brainer, and would love to keep playing that sort of competition. And it's tough to get teams to come to our tournament every year, and to have those teams kind of in our backyard a little bit, it will, to me, that's a bonus.
And bringing Danny back.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
I got you all, didn't I? No, I'm just kidding.
What? I mean, I thought he wanted out of this travel business.
No, I think he. I don't know what he told you, but I think he really miss being a part of softball. And it was, you know, I posted the job and he came and asked if he could meet with me and sat down in the office and said he was interested, and I was blown away. I had no idea. And that was completely a no-brainer for me. Someone who just loves and invests into this program, and he's going to give us his best, and really wants the girls to succeed on and off the field. I think anytime that you can find someone that fits all that criteria is a no-brainer, and he just epitomizes Arizona softball. So just lucky to have him.